Okay, so here's an update on my DIY CO2 reactor. That's about the rate that I want. That's about 1 bubble per minute for CO2. It goes up slightly, then it drops a little bit, as the pressure builds up, because I've got a wood and air stone. You get a much finer bubble from them. It comes more more like a mist, really. It will diffuse through the water. That's with the power head turned off, just to show you. But when I plug the power head back in, you can see that's diffusing that quite nicely through the water. It goes up and out the tube. This is a DIY kit. I've used some yeast, some sugar, a couple of bottles, and basically I've then removed one of the bottles I had on yesterday's video. Now in there is 400 grams of sugar, half a teaspoon of yeast, half a teaspoon of baking powder. What I do is I fill it about halfway, add the baking powder, the sugar, warm water just out the tap, shake all that up, and then get a separate pot, put the yeast in, mix the yeast into a separate pot with just, talking like the bottom of a cup, just a little sip of water, about a quarter of a glass will do you. Mix it up with the yeast, leave it 10 minutes, and then leave that to settle. What that does is lets the yeast sort of start off before you place it in here, which then feeds off of the sugar, creating CO2. The CO2 is then pushed up the pipe on my unit, excuse all the cables, into my eBay bubble counter, which was about £2 from Hong Kong. It's approximately a 1 bubble per second, which is perfect for me. That then goes past the check valve to make sure that if it stops, the water doesn't drain back out the tank and into my reactor, and then up into the fish tank, as you saw before, behind the power head. All of these bubbles you're seeing now is the CO2 being diffused around the water. I usually have an airflow on the back of this as well. But results already within 12 hours. That grass is a lot greener and standing up more. And the fern at the back's looking good as well. I mean, there is a noticeable difference. It's only been running 12-13 hours. But yeah, that seems to be doing the job. It's not affecting the fish. The fish are not upset, annoyed. They're still settling in. They're still new fish. That's 3 of the discus. Another one down there. Got a variety of fish in here. Tetras, all sorts. It doesn't seem to be affecting them at all. So, the CO2 is not too high. Like I say, stick to about 1 bubble per second. Is about right. That's just picked up a little bit, but that's because I just nudged the chair. What you will find is if you do aggravate the bottle at all, if you nudge it or catch it, or it gives it a burst of CO2. Now, temporary bursts like that won't hurt. They're being diffused through the water. Continuously, that would be too much CO2 for my tank. So just keep an eye on that. I mean, if you do nudge it, it soon settles back down again. That's slowing down already. So just to give you an idea. It will produce more as it's stirred, as it's agitated, but then that fades away. But that's about it really. I just wanted to give you a quick update. The bottle's going to go in the tank. I'm going to run the cables through the back of the cabinet and just have the bubble counter just situated there on the corner, and then hide the rest of the cables. But I'm happy with this. I think it's a nice little addition. The CO2's diffusing well. Like I said, I'll quickly show you the usual airflow that I have with it. You can see the two blend in nicely. There's no stress to the fish whatsoever. They're quite relaxed. I mean, bearing in mind I've only had the discus, a week or two. They're settling down quite nice.